you left? Because I left before you.
I left when it ended. I left when it
Oh,
was
okay.
over. So they turned the lights on. And
Yeah, you really didn't want to see us today.
No, I was about to start signing, and they were like, "You have interviews." I was like, "Oh, we're still doing those." Because like I told my agent, I said, "Yeah, I'll take." Because he was like, "Oh, I don't know." I was like, "No, I want to interview with everybody." And then they were like, "You have interviews apparently." So I was like, "Oh." I thought you guys were gonna come. I was gonna go in the back in the green room or something. I don't know. I didn't know how this was working. But anyway.
It's all good. It's all good. You got either of you got room?
Should I have my mask on? Is that?
Okay, whatever you feel comfortable with.
It's
I know, right?
Because I feel like I can't like ask you with that. I feel like
Yeah, that's what I felt
it feels like
that's
less
why I took it
personal.
off. That's why I took it off.
Yeah.
Testing. 1, 2. Okay, it's coming through. Cool. All right. Howdy. We're doing it all live.
All live right now?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to start recording.
No, we're stingy, so we're just gonna keep this for us.
Hmm?
We're stingy. We're gonna keep this for us. It's not.
No, yeah, of course. We're not posting this anywhere. It's just to look at later. Like, wow, look at Zeno. Look at him talk. Just rip the audio and listen to his voice.
Every night before bed, ASMR.
Huh? You know? It's like, yeah, remember when he like talked for 5 minutes about Tales of Symphonia? And,
Oh my goodness.
it's like, I just go to sleep to that.
Hey, let's see. You guys want to do this round robin style?
Yeah, let's do it around. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you start.
Oh,
Cool.
Okay.
You got a list, yeah.
so, hi there.
Hi.
First question I'm going to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say was a particularly memorable voice direction you received in the booth? But it's something I like to ask a lot of actors. Bonus points if you remember what show and director it was for.
Memorable voice. It happened a lot in Kuroko's basketball too. But our director Jalen, he's great. He loves the show clearly. You know, Kagami has a really like rough like voice, and like we sometimes he'll have these reacts, right? Especially like somebody will do something amazing, right? Like Midoriya will like shoot and make it in from like halfway across the court, or you know. And so Kagami has all these reacts. It's like, oh, and Jalen would be like, hey, let his balls kind of go right up into him more. And I was like, it's just an interesting image for God. That's how afraid of whatever generation of Miracle player he was up against was. That's how fearsome they were. Like Akashi, like who would just like take the ball without him realizing it. Right? It's like, oh, like let him go up into him a little bit more. That's how scared he is. So yeah, that's probably like the most interesting line of direction I've been given.
Okay.
Netflix is gonna be like, what? Yeah, he said what?
Yo, the check cleared.
On our show?
Okay. Actually, speaking of Kuroko, did you have any prior knowledge of it before you worked on it, and what was it like doing something like that on such a tight schedule?
I knew about it because I actually had just started watching Haikyuu, and I was like really into Haikyuu, and like I was like, wow, like Haikyuu does a lot of things that I wish like other shonen anime would do, like as far as like pacing and character development. I think a lot of shonen anime should like look to Haikyuu as far as like how that stuff works and like what makes like these moments really, really tug at your heartstrings. And Alejandro Saab, who actually ended up, he's in Kuroko's basketball. He was the one who was like, you should watch Kuroko. If you like Haikyuu, then definitely watch. It's like Dragon Ball Z but basketball. And I was already, that's the pitch, and I was sold. But I actually hadn't started watching the show until I heard I was Kagami, and then I started doing research. But prior to knowing I was Kagami, not really. But other than being told like I should watch it and that what In the Zone was and things like that.
I hope you guys don't mind if I skip you right back, because since you're talking about sports anime, I'm a huge sports anime nerd.
Oh,
so
okay.
sorry.
I saw when I said Haikyuu, you looked and you were like,
I was like,
oh,
oh,
here
my
you
heart,
go.
my heart. It hit me right where it hurts. So an actor is still, a voice actor is still an actor. So do you ever get so into your characters that you walk out of the recording booth feeling like it? Did you ever feel like you could like shoot some half-court pointers?
Actually, like I I moved in between seasons of doing Kuroko's basketball, and I lived in my new house. There's a park that's in walking distance, and like after like doing Kuroko, I was like, I should play basketball again. Like they just make it look, maybe it's a good way to exercise. I don't really have a lot of time to work out. So I was like, yeah, so I bought a ball like off of Amazon, and I started going to the park and playing basketball after watching Kuroko's basketball. So yeah, like I guess what you do kind of has an effect on your real life.
Yeah, so you tend to get really into your characters. Which
Oh,
one
absolutely.
do you think you've gotten most into so far?
Into like me, I'm like, oh wow, like I should relax. I'm taking on too many of this character's attributes. Maybe Hawks, I think sometimes, because like he's just a very specific cadence of talking, and it's so like relaxing, and it's so it comes so natural to me that like I'll find myself being like, you need to stop that. You need to, where's your energy go? Like because like a lot of people are like, oh, you're a really cool laid back guy, and it's like not really. Like I'm really not, but I think like I just do that when I have to play Hawks, and it just kind of stays with you, and then you have to try to learn how to either keep it or let it go into what you want to be or whatever that means to anyone. I don't know what that means to me. So,
Go ahead, Patty. I skipped
You sure it's okay?
Up.
Yeah. Your turn.
Yeah.
I skipped you too. You want a second?
Yeah. You said, oh, so it was a double skip. It was like Uno. She
They
stacked
know.
them.
When you start talking sports anime, it's my
Right.
turn. They
No,
gotta
of
just
course,
sit down
of
and
course,
shut up.
of course.
In my heart, I said, "Damn, he said it. Like she's gonna take it."
Yeah. She.
But
I saw it. I saw it happen.
one thing for sure, I have to say thank you, because at the Crunchyroll Awards, you mentioned something, and you said that the reason anime is popping right now is because of blacks and POCs, because we make
I
it.
was very scared to say that. I just want everybody to know that was not an easy feat. I was like, is this something that I should say in front of everybody? I literally thought Crunchyroll was gonna cut that, because they told me my speech should be only like 60 seconds, and I was like, 60 seconds? How am I supposed to fit everything I want to say to all of y'all in 60 seconds? So I just sent them like these 2 1-minute or whatever videos. I was like, I'll let them decide if that's what they want, or if they want me to do it over. And I was like, ain't no way they're gonna keep the part where I thank God. Ain't no way they're gonna keep the part where I talked about black people. Ain't no way. I was like, they're gonna tell me to do this over, or they're gonna like cut around it. But no, they put the whole video. And not only did they put the whole video on, they sent me an email thanking me for a marvelous video. Yeah, like they were like, wow, your speech was like actually incredible, and you said everything that needed to be said, and like we really appreciate it. So, and they put the whole thing on, so that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah,
but I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. I was super excited. My neighbors thought something was wrong because I was screaming. Because we was taping, actually, we did the live, and we were streaming it, and we was like, oh my God, he said you heard it? No, it was
Exploded, we exploded. That was a moment.
It was a wrap.
It was only right. It was something that I felt like I had to do for everybody, in front of everybody, on a grand stage like that. Because I just feel like I wouldn't, especially the Crunchyroll Awards, that was like a lot of people voted, like fans like voted, and I think like
multiple
I
times.
wouldn't be where I am without the support of y'all, and I just don't think anime would be where it is without the support. I said it in the panel yesterday, where I was like, I think anime culture and how popular it is really pushed a lot by black people. If you look around, I mean, RDC's here. Have you seen RDC's live?
Yes, of course.
Like,
yes.
King Vader has 1 million followers. Like, that's not for no reason.
Right.
And yeah, so I do think like it's worth mentioning. And even when Black Lives Matter came around, and the outlets like Crunchyroll and Funimation were even saying like we wouldn't be anywhere without our black community and fans, and I was like, thank you for saying it, because I feel like, it rings true. So I definitely had to make sure that everyone felt seen, and that was like my kind of goal. And I didn't want to make it about me winning an award. I wanted to make it about like us winning a step toward like being seen on that kind of scale. as far as anime is concerned. So.
But with that being said, though, what do you think we need more of to get more proper representation?
I was asked this, I think, yesterday. I don't know if that you. I don't know.
That was you?
Yeah.
I was late. I was caught up in the line and everything.
No,
I'm sorry.
I think you hit me up on Twitter. Like, can you stall them because I'm caught up in line? They wouldn't let me in. It's okay. You don't have to keep this in the interview, but they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me through. The security wouldn't let me through to my signing yesterday morning before the panel. I was like, I'm the guy in the book. Like, why let me in? I have a signing. And he was like, I can't let you in without a badge. I was like, they messed up my badges. Like,
your headshot looked different, so you're
yeah, I was like, that's me. He was like, I believe it's you, but I can't let you in without a badge. I was like, my signing started 5 minutes ago. He's like, what time you need to be there? Like 7 minutes ago? Can I go? It was a mess. But I think what we really need more of is just like more people just doing it. Just do whatever creative endeavor you have in the field that includes anime, like go for it. But I also think like really supporting it. I know there's like a lot of talented artists out there who are like, you know, once you check if everything's legit and everything, who like need our support. And you know, like our panel the other day, right? If we could fill that room, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that would be better for us. Mm-hmm. You know, if we could get more people in more rooms or more of us supporting more of the stuff that we do. You know, I wouldn't be where I am without the support of people like y'all. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think like anybody else won't, you know, like wouldn't get anywhere without the support of their peers or someone who looks like them, who may be in a better position or a better privilege of opportunity to like give them an opportunity to do something more, and creating our own things. I feel like if no one's gonna do it, we should just do it. But we also have to like support that stuff as long as it's like not, as long as it's legit. You know, as long as it's everything checks out. Yeah.
Sure. I'll go now.
Since they skipped me. So. Live actions are becoming a thing now.
Live action, like
adaptations,
anime,
anime adaptations. Are there any roles like you would like want to happen for you, like to take on?
You know, I heard that Jordan Peele would be doing an Akira movie, and I was like, yo, wouldn't that be dope if like a black guy was like, was kinda, you know, like.
I can see you with the jacket.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Or like I think there's a live action Gundam, and I was like, yo, like if I could be like Amuro kind of looks like he has an afro in the 80s version. You know? If he was black, that would be dope. I feel like, you know, like I feel like that would be cool. Like, so like anything kind of classic like that, I feel like would be cool, like a Mobile Suit Gundam or like live action Akira. And you know, maybe if I grow the hair out, I could be the live action Yuji. Who knows? That might be cool.
Oh man! All right. So a couple months ago, we talked to Mike McFarlane about
I love him.
For the casting for Attack on Titan. Because it's just been amazing the way they've casted that series. From top
I thought you were gonna say like I'm so disappointed it's not John Boyega.
Like, no, but just amazing casting for Attack on Titan. You've been been part of that series, and I could see probably in the next like 9 months really going down as one of the greatest of all time. How do you feel about getting that role of Onion Capone in the series, especially as we head into its 4th season?
Yeah,
it's highest stakes.
Yeah,
biggest moments, breaking Twitter every day.
The final season. Well, like Mike's a great director, and I think mostly everybody in the industry really like respects his artistry and respects his artistic opinions and decisions, and he cast for One Piece and Attack on Titan, and he's a great actor. He's a great like director, and Onion Capone was a surprise to me. Because I thought that was gonna go to Gabe Kunda. I was like, no way. Like, no way is it gonna be me. Like, this is a role meant for Gabe. And then I got the call from my agent, like, oh, like, you're gonna be in Attack on Titan. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm gonna be some guy that dies in like episode whatever. And like that was cool with me too. Like, I was fine with that. Because Mike had asked for my materials, I think, at some point when he was casting, and I was like looking up people I could play, and I had already been like, oh, Anya Capone, like I want that to be Gabe, so like let me look like maybe Falco or like and he was like, oh, you're gonna be Anya Capone? I was like, oh, word, like me?
Yeah, give me that.
Why? That was my first question. It's like, why? Because I know like the internet wanted it to be John Boyega, and I was like, hey, John Boyega, if you want to do it, like I'd like to see that. But then, I know he has a very important scene, and I as y'all know, I take my work very seriously. So I was like, oh, okay, well, if it's gonna be me, then I definitely want to do as good of a job as Gabe. So I put on my best Gabe impression, and but I really, and like, it was kind of like, I was like, if it's not John Boyega, I'll try to be the next best thing, Like, I voice matched John Boyega once, like, I'll try to, like, make it kind of something similar to that, and similar to, like, Gabe's timbre, and, I'm actually not caught up on Attack on Titan, the manga, so, but, like, I'm hoping... No, he said good that I'm not, I guess good that I'm not caught up.
Only because, like...
I won't know what's happening,
It'd be a fresh experience.
Yeah,
it might,
But I'm hoping Anya Capone gets to do more. I know he like remains like kind of at least a major supporting figure throughout the end of the show, and so like I'm hoping I just get to do like more. Like right now he's just kind of been supporting Yelena or not supporting Yelena, and so like. I'm just hoping like I get to do more with it, but I really I just wanted to get that monologue right. The why are you so black? I knew that. I knew that was important. So like I really worked with Mike on that a lot, and was like I was like, oh, can I do that more? Oh, I want to say it more like this. Like trust me. Like we need to hit this right. Like trust me. Like we saw this moment on Twitter first and how they reacted, and we need to honor it in the same way in the English, especially in the English. So
he said he was very deliberate with the casting. He made sure, because with a lot of animes you end up hearing the same voices over. Like they'll be using this and they'll be using that, but he didn't want to do that for Attack on Titan. And he said he was very deliberate in picking you and everyone else who was part of this thing.
He spoke highly, man.
He's great.
Highly.
He's so nice. Oh my gosh.
Nice
No, he's amazing, and it's like just an honor just to be like vocal data on that show. Just like even if he like never does anything again, just to, like I was in 3 episodes of Attack on Titan, which may be one of the best anime in the decade. I'm just really proud of that, honestly. It's a blessing in itself.
But yeah, man, I do have something I gotta ask you, man. I teased you about it on Twitter a few months ago. I don't know the process, but I really hope you get a chance at a Kotsu.
Yuta?
I really
in the JJK movie? I'm a big fan of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's like my favorite manga. It's like right up my alley, like urban fantasy, cool, like pseudo magic, but not really. Like and like I auditioned for a lot of the characters in that show. I auditioned for like a lot of people on Twitter were like, oh, you should be Gojo, and like I auditioned for Gojo. I shouldn't be Gojo. Like none of you heard that audition. I literally didn't send it. I listened to it and I was like, this isn't gonna work. I don't know why. Like everybody thinks like I have a deeper, cooler voice than I do because I'm Hawks and Yuichi Nakamura is Gojo and Hawks, but I'm not Yuichi. So, I really, I'd love to audition and you know me. If it's me, it'll be my best work. It'll definitely be my best work to date if it happens to be.
I saw you posting a bunch of pictures like 6 months ago. He wants that.
Yeah, definitely. My eyes are on it. So we'll see. It might be Yuri Lowenthal or something. Who knows? Right. I have made a joke with AJ because AJ is also a fan of the show. I was like, what if like Yuri Lowenthal just came out of retirement and just like to play Yuta? Like how much would that suck for us? You had something?
All right, I got questions, but now I got a question for what the next question should be. Which would you rather talk about first, Vanitas or Akudama? And that'll lead into my next.
Let's talk about Akudama first.
Let's go with Akudama first.
All right, let's go. I like your question. I should have said next to you.
So, what would you say was interesting with the experience? Because I know dubbing in particular, you're recording in a booth and not really like playing off of each other. What was it like in a show like Akudama Drive to play off of actors that you were very close and familiar with while playing a character like Brawler alongside them?
I mean, a lot of times you end up kind of ending up in shows with people you're familiar with. I mean, I feel like in Akudama, it was people that I was like more familiar with. But like honestly, before the pandemic, I got to know like Matt and Brittany like over the pandemic, and I mean I knew Kellen. I've known Kellen for years, and Maddie and like everybody kind of ended up in the show. I think what lent that symmetry was just more of like how they just like made specific pairings that were also like. That also meshed well in real life. Like they made Kellen and I like the brothers.
The BFFs.
Yeah, and like we were already really close. We had known each other for years, so like that just like really worked out in our favor. But when you like know them closely, I feel like it's kind of easier to like play off of them because you just like it's like acting. It's like I know like this is like me playing pretend, but it's for some reason because it's you like I can hone in a little more. That's also because of like Brittany and Matt's direction that helped us, and they gave us a lot of creative freedom to do what we want. So we really got to kind of like live in the characters and kind of embody them. I think, and we took a little bit more of our time too. A lot of my sessions were at night, so like I had a little bit more freedom to kind of just like do what I wanted with Brawler. So yeah, like it helped that I knew everybody because like it helped me like. Especially because like look, with Kellen, right? This is easy. He's like my brother in real life, so like it's easy to just pretend I'm playing off of some guy who I see as my brother because that's how it is. So yeah, but it was fun. It's a fun show.
I know this is sort of stealing a second question, but I'm curious. Was it hard doing the Brawler voice? Because that is like the lowest I think I've ever heard your voice.
No. It's actually fun fact. The first episode, I was cheating. I had just come from a bonfire the day before, and I didn't know bonfires like kind of mess with your voice. So like when it came time to go to work the next day, I was like, my voice is a little scratchy and a little low, but it's kind of got this like cool little resonance going. Like maybe if I do the low thing, you know, and give them there, and then it just made it really smoky and yeah, like you can hear it kind of as my voice recovered over the course of the show. It got a little different. But that first episode, I was totally cheating. I was totally using my handicap to my advantage.
I would say we won't tell anybody. But...
Yeah. I mean, no, it's okay. It's okay. I'm okay telling people. Yeah, I definitely like. I didn't know, so it was just like, oh, I'm gonna just use it on the first because it's gonna just make it sound better. But yeah, I mean, but even afterward, like. That's just like the lowest my voice can go. So, you know, like Brawl is still easy. It's just low. It's just low. Yeah.
Okay, so moving into Valley's House, what's it been like working with David Wald? And also, I also want to ask, is it difficult working with French pronouns for lip flaps and things like that?
You know, first of all, David Wald is amazing. Like, working with David Wald has been some of the most fun I've had working with the director. Just like, I mean, it's always fun, but David Wald is just such a fun guy. He's just always like, first of all, he's always willing to give me a million takes, which I love because I'm always asking for more, and it's just kind of become a funny like joke between like me and people I work with. I'm always like, can I do that again? I know we've done this 5 times, and I'm sorry to beat this dead, but one more time, I promise I'll do it better. And then he'll be like, I liked your third take, you know.
It's like the Thor slamming the cup. Another.
Exactly, another, please. Or I usually say like if we go to Marvel, it's usually Doctor Strange, like in Infinity War, like. One more, please. And yeah, like he's great. I love working with David Wald. He really prioritizes like me as an actor and as an artist, which I really respect and love. And he's always willing to have fun and make the fun choice. Like there's certain scenes like when they were all having dinner, and Vanitas takes a piece of the cake and he's like, "Oh, that's too sweet, right?" But like the flaps didn't really fit. She was like, "Oh, why don't you just do like a blech sound?" And like I did it, and it like I don't know, just added a cool little flavor to it that I think like that's just like David Wald's like kind of just like being very free and playful with his take on the project. So and the French pronunciations, he'll tell me like this is how this is pronounced, and we really try to make sure we get it right. So like he like Jean, right? It's like he's like, no, Jean. And I was like, Jean? And so Jean. And then like, and also like I had a French coworker when I was working at Banana Republic. So like his name's Kaveen. What's up, Kaveen? If you listen to this, I don't know why you would listen to this because you're like into fashion, but if you listen to this, Kaveen, Dohien. I remember when you told me that's what that was. So just know your lessons didn't go to waste. But like I think the hardest thing for me was in an upcoming episode. It was like we had to name some building, and it was like the hardest one. But that one didn't have lip flaps. But the French pronunciation is written to flap. So it's not really difficult to like match flap. It's just difficult to pronounce sometimes, or to know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Like he'll tell me what it is, but I'm like, am I pronouncing it correctly when I have to parrot it back? So who knows? But it's fun though. I feel like it gives Vonnie just another like layer. Like yeah, he's like cool and seductive because he can speak French.
You got one?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Have you ever had an audition where you like walked out and you just knew that role was yours? Like you knew you crushed your competition?
I don't know. Like I'm like, have I ever done that? Like have I ever walked out of audition and said anything other than, well, didn't get that, and be surprised when I booked it. Even mine to us, like I was like, well, probably gonna end up as no way, but and then I was like, what, really? Me? Why? And then I guess we figured out why. Crushed it? Like, have I ever left an audition and been like, I'm gonna book that? Dang it, I can't say that.
You just say that because the camera's on.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know when it's coming out, so I can't say that one. I will say, like, I had a feeling I would end up as Ogun. Kyle was asking for demos. I don't know if this is even good advice to give, but he was like, "Oh, let me I want to hear demos." And then I knew why he was reaching out to me for demos for Fire Force, and I was like, "Okay, this current demo I have isn't going to be reflective of the character I'm trying to play, which was Ogun." So I was like, all right, like let me do some I was like, I'm gonna take. So I took my clip of Ezekiel from Carol and Tuesday, and then I spliced it with another thing, and I was like, if anything, Ogun's gonna sound closer to Ezekiel, so I'm gonna just put this together, and this is gonna be my specific to this call demo. So that it's catered specifically to, I think, what Kyle was looking for, since he couldn't hold auditions. So that was my audition, as opposed to giving him a demo. I did give him a demo, but I gave him more of a demo of if you were holding an audition, this is what I would give you. And yeah, and then I didn't hear from him for a while, so I didn't think I got it. But then he was he hit me up on Discord. I was like, hey dude, you're Ogun, and I was like, oh wow, super cool. But I don't know. When I put the Ezekiel clip first, I was like, I feel like that's gonna be what he wants. Yeah. But I don't think I've ever had a moment where I walked out and was like, I totally booked. Every time I do that, every time I have that moment, I don't book it. Every time I have the moment where I'm like, yo, I freaking killed that audition. I can't even think of who could do a better audition than me. I don't book it. It's some other guy. I think that was my UG audition. I was like, ain't no way any actor in LA. They're gonna have to be very good to beat that. And literally someone always does.
It's reverse psychology.
Yes, exactly. And every time I'm like, I don't care about this stuff. I don't even want to do this project. Whatever. No. Send. So we'd like to schedule you for the character. I'm like, why? I didn't even want that guy. Yeah, it's always how that works.
All right. So don't get mad at me. So it's now shade. So in the 90s, dubbing was it was trash, right? No disrespect. It was really trash. So my thing is, we've always said that dub actors were theater heads that never got the opportunity to go to Hollywood, so they just decided to do voice acting very horribly, and they never had passion for it. So I say this all the time in the podcast. This is really bad. I get slandered for it. But I want to know, like, when was the...
You got to do that with the Dub Talk podcast. The other ones over there, like, what are you talking about?
I mean...
Look, we're willing to go to that. But even then, not everyone. Right. Not everything that glitters is gold.
Yeah, that's true. But, you know, from my experience, I was like, yo, this is bad. This is bad. So I wanted to know, did you ever, like, when did you see that it was really taken seriously by voice actors? Like, American voice actors was like, yo, I got to put my heart and soul into this booth. I got to sweat out. So when did you think that really happened?
I think when anime stopped becoming a thing to do to get it over to America and a thing to do to, like, when America saw that it could be profitable. I think, like, a lot of the dubs you see for the past are bad is because they probably weren't actors. They probably were, like, some guy in IT, like, oh, can you say this line into this flap and make it match? So, like, you know, so we can localize this. So because somebody in this department's asking for it to be in English in case someone in America buys it, as opposed to now where, like, dubs are catered to an American audience to be experienced, especially when simuldubs were a thing, hopefully first. And when they started going from taking a guy and being like, oh, you can be the guy, and, like, actually hiring, like, actors, or, you know, those failed theater people who, you know, you know, I think it started to, you know, like, when stuff like Dragon Ball Z started becoming really popular and, like, selling toys, and, like, Pokemon started becoming really popular and, like, selling toys and, like, selling merch in America, then they were like, oh, well, maybe we should care a little bit more about how the English sounds, so that way, like, it's more appealing to everybody, as opposed to, like, people wanting to turn it off, or, like, listen to it in its original language, so that way it's accessible. It's more accessible for everybody. I think once it started becoming less of a chore and more of, like, a way to be more accessible so that it could be more profitable, is when, like, the quality started increasing. Of course, us actors don't think of it that way, but I think, like, that's probably when, like, when businesses were like, oh, we can make money off of this. We can make a lot of money off of this. Why? Kids are in backyards practicing their kamehamehas. Like, we might have something here, you know? Yeah, that's probably why. That's probably why, like, some animes get redubs, right? Like, why old animes, like, get redubs, because they're like, oh, we want better actors.
One Piece, fixing 4Kids.
Please.
Well, but I also think 4Kids was one of those times where they were like, we can make money off of this. Yeah. They just like, thought everything was, like, cartoony. Yeah, like, they were cartoons. Yeah. It wasn't anime for them. It was, like, cartoons for them. So, like, they were character voices as opposed to being, like... Yeah, right. Yeah, but I think 4Kids was the start of, like, when dubs started becoming, like... I mean, like, Dan Green and Yu-Gi-Oh!, right? Like, I mean, oh my god. Like, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dub. Like, it doesn't... Even if it's not, like, quote-unquote, like, the best, or... I mean, I love that dub, though. Like, I love Dan Green as Yu-Gi. Like, I can't imagine anybody else playing it.
Exception.
Yeah, so it's like... You know, 4Kids, like, I mean, even the new Shaman King. The new Shaman King still retains a lot of the 4Kids cast, because, like, those voices were established at that point. Like, they were catering to their audience, and their audience was children. But now, like, anime tries to cater to everyone, which is why I think a lot of the content and stuff is, like, more, like, mature and elevated. But yeah, that's when, you know, it started becoming less about, like, oh, you can get an English track on a DVD, to now we're playing anime on Saturday mornings, but we're telling kids they're cartoons, to, like, this is anime, it's separate, and for Toonami, right? So yeah.
You mentioned something really interesting when you were looking at the Twitter posts about Oyakapon's big speech and how much that had influenced people wanting to mimic that. So could you talk a bit about your relationship to the Japanese dub and voiceovers and how that kind of influences how you do yours? Like, do you like to mimic it? Do you like to keep the essence? Or would you rather come in completely blind and make the character your own?
Most of the time I try to keep to the essence of what the Japanese does. I feel like whoever made all of those decisions were trying to serve that story truthfully. So I feel like it would be kind of, unless we were, like, drastically changing the line or the moment, if we don't want to do that, then, like, we have to kind of honor whatever truths they put in that scene. So I don't try to, like, mimic exactly bar for bar or musical, like how the original Seiyu did the performance before me, but I do try to be like, what was their like intention in saying that line? Like, could I hear anger, a bit of anger there? Could I hear a bit of like sadness there, or like what was that character feeling in that moment that say you did that I can also do? And if I feel the need that I want to like make it something different, can I make it something different and still serve this moment? And I think there was like a lot of like that kind of stuff, that kind of like tightrope stuff on that we were doing on Vanitas. Like we would be like, oh, I know he does this in the sub, but let's like do this instead, or let's make him a little more let's make this a little more contained in our version than in the sub, and let's see how that plays. And so sometimes like if like the sub actor is doing something at a mid tone, like a serious scene, I might want to take it into like if he says like I hate you, right? And I was like, oh yeah, like that was cool, but what if I did I hate you? You know, like just a little bit, like how do I change it, like to even boom, give it a bit more of something. So yeah.
If I do a quick spin-off of that idea. I know, I'm sorry, it'll be hopefully a quick one. Has there ever in time where you purposely diverged from what the original said, or the original Japanese? Because I'm thinking, in Skate the Infinity, there was a huge moment that broke the internet when the English voice actor came out and said, hey, bitches, bros, and non-binary hoes. Not in the script, a total...
David Wall.
David Wall?
And that's what I just think that's a testament of like David Wall's creative freedom. And we did a lot of stuff like that in Vanitas. There was a scene where Vanitas, he's standing on top of the chandelier and he's telling all the vampires that he's gonna save the vampires, and there's nothing that any of them could do to stop him. And the vampire of the blue moon is like this kind of like mythical figure that's very dangerous to the vampires. So everyone's like, kill him right now. And they break the chandelier and Vanitas falls. But I just went, and he goes, oh, and he falls. But I went, me? And he falls. And Craig gave it up. He's like, that's canon. We're keeping that. And like, we'll just do like stuff like that. Like there would be a moment where like Domi shows up and she's like, oh, I'm Noe's like fiance. And in the sub, Vanitas was like, oh, he just said something like, huh, or like, oh. And the dub, we made him go, aw, you know, like, yeah, it's just like changing tiny moments that like, I don't know, just give it a little bit more like fun and like pizzazz.
A little more character.
Yeah, I sometimes I'll do that, like I'll be like, oh, I threw that in, or I'll throw in an extra hey, or I'll be like, oh, what if he said this? I think a lot of Kagami stuff, especially in season 1, we immediately established that we wanted to make him a little more like American, which meant he spoke a little more slang, which meant he spoke a little more street, which meant he spoke a little more black, right? So like I would always just from then on change anything that was like is not to ain't, right? I would change anything to all right to I, right? I would just be like, oh, I'm black, so I probably am the best kind of guide on this stuff. So like if there was a line where like Kagami said something that I felt was too, not intelligent, but too like a big word he probably wouldn't say, I'd be like, I don't know if Kagami would say unrecognizable, right? He'd probably say something that like, don't look familiar to me. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like he probably would say something like that, so. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's kind of stuff like creative liberties we like took. I've taken, I think personally, like especially with Kagami, I definitely was like, oh, like Jalen, what if he said this instead? You know, what if he said this instead? Like I think there was one episode where he was like, oh, we have to fight these guys, like, you know, time to go, or let's go. And I was like, what if he said, let's get it? You know, like what if he did that? You know, like yeah. So you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I want to know, what can you tell us about your experience on Odd Taxi and how it's felt?
Odd Taxi, yeah. Thank you.
Put my sweater on.
Congratulations. Oh, yeah. The dub premiered this weekend, and I did that.
That's like 5 hours.
Huh?
We're going to that 5 hours.
Oh, it's today?
Yeah.
Oh, in 5 hours? I'm going to freaking miss it. That sucks. Actually, I just worked Odd Taxi, like maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago, so I hope it sounds good. I haven't worked with the director before. The director is Bill Millsap, I think is his name. And I hadn't worked with him before, but I really like his directing style. He likes to get a lot of takes, which, as you all know, I like doing. So, and he has a very specific idea of like the pacing and the comedy that he wants. And it was actually very hard for me to lock in at first. I thought I was gonna get replaced. Like we did our first couple lines like maybe like 5 to 10 times. That's and usually 10 takes is like unheard of. Like if I don't get it by the 3rd take, I'm like something's wrong. But he was really patient with me. He was like, oh, I think it should be more like this. And then later on, we caught the energy that he wanted, so we went back and did some stuff over. But it was hard for me to lock into this like specific kind of sound, comedic sound that he wanted to hear. And I don't know if that's just like my like ignorance to like theater like history or my ignorance to like knowing enough about like acting culture to know what he was asking for, but it was the first like hour or so of our session was trying to find the character and the humor and the pacing, which is kind of different than I think any other dub I've worked on before since then. And then it became a challenge, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, Odd Taxi was really fun. It was really fun getting to like play in like that like kind of hot, like I felt like he was asking for something natural, so I was giving him natural, but I was giving him too much natural, so I had to up the energy a bit, which was also a thing I had with Hawks when I first started Hawks. So yeah, Odd Taxis was fun though. It's fun. It's been fun. Yeah.
People are talking.
Yeah, I got to do the bad song, so hopefully that see that today.
So I would say I'm pretty good at kind of reading body language and stuff like that. So during, I guess, the panel yesterday, which I was at, you come off like very like, I know you say you're not confident, but you come up very confident. I want to know, is it because of your like passion for the things that you were speaking about?
Yeah.
Or if it's just like, do you feel like kind of like even in this space, it's currently like, you know, anime, there's like these black creatives that are all coming up at the same time. Do you feel like kind of like a little bit like bestowed in now? Is it like confidence? Is it like passion? Do you feel like, you know, where does that kind of come from? Because, yeah.
I think it comes from like just trying to be truthful and honest. Like I feel like no matter what I do or say, like I have to be as honest as possible. And I think like that's kind of where that comes from. Like my honesty is how I cover for when I'm like not sure.
Right.
I don't know if anybody here went to like the My Hero concert we did like here Friday night, but we did a live My Hero orchestra concert. It was amazing, and like they did like a bunch of songs from the show, and like it was a live band. It was super cool, but they wanted me to go up and speak, and I like had no idea what they wanted me to say, and they were like, "Oh, we'll leave the topic to you." And I thought they were just wanting me to be like, "Oh, hey, like I'm Zeno, I'm Hawks, like thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed the concert. I love you all. Bye." But they're like, "No, we need you up there for 3 to 4 minutes." And I was like, 3 to 4 minutes? I don't know what I want to talk about. And so like I literally just got up there and I wung it, and I got off stage and I was like, "Oh, you did great." I was like, "No, I didn't think I forgot to say the band was amazing. I forgot to like say that this changed my life. Like I forgot all this stuff. Can we do it again? I hate myself. Like you idiot." Like Robbie Damon went up there and he was amazing. Like why can't you be more like Robbie Damon? You know, it's like so I'll say things and I'll get off, and even though like I'll have this air like I know what I'm doing, no, I really don't. Like I really got up there and like made it up. But then Shota, one of the musicians, we ran into each other in the lobby of the hotel. He was like, "Oh, you're so good. You were so funny." I was like, "Me? What?" I was in the front row beating myself up for not saying that you did amazing. You know, like so it's just interesting. Yeah, like I think that all that confidence or that pseudo confidence comes from just me being honest, like trying to be like I don't want to like pretend or like kind of be fake and be something that I'm not. I really, and then because I do love this stuff, it helps in like being honest. My passion about this stuff helps in that honesty, but I think it's just me trying to be like connecting with everyone, with all of you guys, like on a human to human level, like you know. But yeah, that's probably where that comes from. Yeah. Anybody have any last ones?
I think we got a good last one.
Yeah, so Plasmic, when I wanted to ask, I know we kind of touched on this earlier.
Huh? What did you say?
So Plasmic, when I wanted to ask, I know we kind of touched on this one earlier.
Oh, okay. Wow, you can talk really fast.
Yeah, that's a really bad habit.
No, that's not bad. I was just like, wow, like that's impressive. Like, I thought I talked fast, but I literally didn't understand a word of that.
So do you see yourself as influencing young black actors, and what kind of legacy do you want to leave on the industry?
And sort of to bounce off that,
Yeah.
do you think there are any other actors like that you see becoming the next big thing in the future, or actors you want to push in the future?
AJ Beckles is stealing all of my roles, so AJ and Daenerys, I think they are really the truth in the future. As far as like people that I usually try to keep like tap in with people like on like Twitter who are like up and comers. Dominic Mosey seems like he's really passionate about acting, so you know I want to help push him as much as I can. Anjali is going to be the next name you guys are going to be hearing a lot of. I love their work, and they're with the same agency as me. Luis Bermudez is doing good work. But I think the next. I mean, AJ's probably already current. Like I don't know if he's the next big guy. He's Takemichi. You know, how much bigger do you get than that? Like, but inspiring other young voice actors is something I think we all like hope to do. But it's just I feel like it's more about that people seeing themselves. So yeah. But yeah, who else is new? I'm trying to think of like. Who did I not say that's just like new and up and coming? I think everybody who was like the AJ Beckles before AJ Beckles, but I think everybody that I've said are probably going to be announcing things that you guys are gonna want to talk to them about in the near future. But yeah, I love all those guys. I love everybody. So, did that answer your question? Okay.
It's just how, like the feeling of inspiring others or like young actors as well.
Yeah, it's like very like it's a hard thing to describe. I think like AJ and Daenerys will probably also tell you the same thing if they haven't already. It's like it's such an immense honor, but like I just feel like I have so much that I need to learn. You know, like I still have so far that I feel like I need to go. But inspiring, making others feel seen is like just a blessing and an honor that I'm very, very blessed to kind of bear, you know, like something that I hope to carry with, you know, grace and humility, hopefully, and like showing other young people who were me or who look like me that like you can do this and don't let anybody kind of tell you what to do with your art. Like I felt like a lot of people and a lot of studios really couldn't see me as the hero. For a very long time, they only saw me as like the black guy or like the villain or like the old somebody that's not even in my vocal print. And even now, I'm like, when's the thing, you know? So yeah, like I feel like being an inspiration to others is something. It's very weird for me to say because I don't feel like I've earned that position. I don't feel like I've earned that. But if I am that for people, then I hope I can continue to be a beacon of that. And hopefully I don't like mess it up at some point, you know, and be like, we were all rooting for you, and I get canceled again on Twitter. That would freaking suck. So hopefully I don't say or do anything bad to anyone at any point.
Much like Hawks, you are just winging it.
I literally am, and I think I've made that pun 5 times this weekend.
But real quick, we wouldn't be toxic if we didn't ask you top 5, please.
Top 5 anime?
Yeah, top 5.
Top 5. God, this changes all the time. Samurai Champloo, Gurren Lagann, Full Metal Alchemist, Jujutsu Kaisen. How many is that?
4.
It's 4.
God, I feel like.
Wait, which Full Metal though?
Brotherhood.
Okay.
Brother. Got it. Oh, Soul Eater.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Fair taste.
Yes, it's valid. You valid. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My taste is immaculate.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you. No, it's been wonderful talking to all of you. Of course, hopefully y'all got enough stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Cut out all the stuff where I sound bad.
Oh man,
You know how many bragging rights we're gonna get, yo? Ben? Oh my God! It's gonna be a rap.
Oh, Ben Balmaceda too, like young upcomers. Ben Balmaceda, look how he's Neku in the
What ends with you?
Yeah, the What Ends With You. He's gonna.
All right, that's our interview with Zeno Robinson at Anime NYC 2021. Thank you, Crunchyroll, for having us. And thank you, our listeners and our watchers, for tuning in to Black Ramen Podcast. Hopefully we get to see you out next year at Anime NYC 2022. It was a movie. It was definitely epic. And the only thing that was missing if you wasn't there was you. Tune in. Stay connected. Black Ramen Podcast, Chatty Patty, and I'm out. Peace.